Our client's name is Michael, a Chinese male. He has been a vegetarian since 2013. He is a Buddhist and an MBC student of the University of Hong Kong. Since he was a kid, he has many pets. Now he only has one adopted cat that he rescued back in 2014. Michael has been suffering from a sudden loss of his beloved dog in last June. He has a lot of mental preparation since then. In our first section, we have introduced mindfulness breathing to him, and he has been religiously chanting the name of Amitabha long before we are engaged in this section.
Hello, Michael. In the last session, we talked about some spiritual oasis meditation skills to enhance the awareness and clarity of mind and the passing of your dog. Do you want to share with me today?
Oh, yes. My dog, Mission, passed away last June. It has been almost 10 months now. But that fateful day was just meant to be a regular checkup and vaccination because he was not showing any sign of unwell and sickness. And then we took him to the vet. The vet suddenly discovered something in his stomach area. And then he scheduled an ultrasonic scan the very next week. So after the vaccination, Mission and I was waiting in the waiting area while we are waiting for the schedule arrangement, something like that. And Mission suddenly collapsed right beside my leg. So the vet, clinicians, and everybody just rushed Mission to the emergency area for rescue. And believe it or not, 15 minutes later, he passed away at his peak at 7 years old.
I see. This must be a heartbreaking incident for you. I can see you may feel very sad because Mission's death was so sudden. How do you describe the relationship between you and Mission?
Yes, even though Mission was not human, but me and him was like father and son. We have a father and son relationship.
It must be a beautiful, loving relationship. Can you tell me more about Mission's death that made you so sad?
Well, Mission was a stray dog. When he was only 2 months, 2.5 months old, he lost his front right leg through a wire trap somewhere up in the hill. And then we rescued him when he was only 4 months old, just a little puppy. So as you can imagine, we have been giving him the best food, best care, best nurturing that any dog could have dreamed of, and anything that money can buy. And he has been, even though he was a stray dog, he has been the most beautiful, loyal, obedient, caring, and selfless dog that we have ever had. So as you can imagine, his sudden pass away really has created a major impact on me. He really didn't deserve all these tragic events and all this suffering that he has experienced. And now I don't even have the courage to adopt another pet, because everything that I rely on, everything that I based upon, have become so uncertain.
As you mentioned, Mission is like your son. He was a stray dog losing one leg. You took the responsibility like a parent to give him the best nurturing, expecting him to have a better and longer life. However, you felt unfair that his death was so sudden, and he deserved to have a longer life. Do I understand your situation correctly?
Yes.
It happened 9 months ago. I wonder, apart from your mental and psychological health, can you sleep and eat well?
Well, yeah, I can sleep and eat well, no problem.
I see. That is good for you. Now I would like to invite you to tell me a specific moment. The moment may not be comfortable for you. We can have a pause whenever you want. For Mission's death, which moment impressed you the most?
Well, there was this particular moment that when Mission was rushed to the emergency room and he was having the tube inserted to his throat. He was on the emergency table and a lot of vets and clinicians rushing in and out. So they left that glass door open and I was looking at him through another glass door. His head was tilted and he was sedated, and with that throat inside his, with that tube inside his throat, and he was looking at me, looking through that glass door, and then he felt so scared, he felt so helpless, he felt so anxious, and so was I. That was the moment that I really couldn't forget.
No wonder you feel sad and helpless. Anyone face a situation like this, the sudden death of our beloved one, will feel sad and pain. Everyone would have encountered this kind of death issue in life. We can work together to handle it. I can see if you do something to update the mental health knowledge, the suffering is bound to be eliminated. Otherwise, the suffering may continue.
Sure. Well, as a Buddhist and an MBC student, I know life is filled with suffering, and the first four dukkha are the inevitable life cycle that everyone has to experience. Although I have long accepted the first set of arrows, such as sickness and death, I really didn't expect them to come so abruptly in my life. So I guess we can really work on the second set of dukkha, because those are what I've been suffering from.
I really appreciate your knowledge in Buddhism and the recognition of the suffering. I also appreciate your loving kindness and responsibility to stray animals, which is so beautiful.
Thank you.
What hurt you the most in this incident?
I think it was the suddenness. No one really expected it. It was as if you and I are talking now, and 15 minutes later, either one of us just dropped dead. It was that shocking and caught us off guard.
It is so unbearable when facing the sudden death of our beloved ones. What do you think Mission expects your life is after his death?
Dogs don't expect anything from their owners. Unlike humans who always linger onto our past and expect things from the future, dogs are really in the moment animals. They live in their nows. So I don't think he expects anything from my life after his death. As a matter of fact, I wonder if he knew he had passed away. He was such a silly dog.
I see. Dogs are really friends as the beings of now, which is a great wisdom in Buddhism. As you said, Mission did not expect to you. I think he may want you to have a good life. You have tasted the downfall of the suffering in these 9 months. I can see you have determination and willingness to make change, so you want to try the Dharma Therapy approach. I believe it is worthwhile to eradicate sufferings and put effort in it.
Yes.
Do you want to be liberated from this suffering?
Yes, I want to be with as many animals as possible, and I want to take care of them once again.
Good! According to Buddha's teaching, suffering is dependently originated and will cease to be when causes and conditions stop to be. Your pain and suffering is due to perspectives, attitudes, and values from Mission's death. I know if you don't work on it, things may get worse. I can see you start to understand that some conditions are not necessarily controllable and even inevitable. Anyway, there are ways out. You always have a choice to have a better and healthier life. It is possible for you to escape from the sufferings once the conditions and course change. Let's see what we can do together.
Okay, let's see.
Have you heard about the metaphor of 2 arrows and 8 types of suffering?
I know about it inside out.
What do you think you are suffering with?
First, separation from the loved. Second, association with the unbeloved, such as the haunting memory. Third, what is wanted, which is a normal lifespan for Mission. And finally, the 5 clinging aggregates. To be more specific, mental proliferations.
Good! Can you differentiate the first arrows as the facts and the second arrow as mental reactions to the event?
Yes.
The first and second arrow can help to differentiate between the tragic external conditions and the internal emotional reaction to the incidents. Our internal thoughts, perceptions, perspectives, and attitudes are the causes and conditions of the suffering. However, it is understandable to feel sad and painful to Mission's death. I'm sure the suffering can be eliminated by developing insights as well as learning to live with the reality to the first start.
Well, I don't have much problem with the first set of arrows. I want to work on the second set though.
Well, Michael, I found you are quite aware and mindful to the suffering caused by the second arrows. Can you tell me more to each arrows in detail?
I still miss him every day. For the separation with the loved, that's very obvious. I I lost him and I couldn't see him anymore. And association with the unbeloved, I think that would be that particular moment where I saw him suffer on the rescue table in the emergency room, and I couldn't do anything to help him. And he was so anxious and also helpless. That moment really got me. And for the unfulfilled wishes, well, I think that wish could never be fulfilled because he's not here anymore. I wanted him to live longer and healthier. That wish is just a joke now. And after his death, there's a void inside me. Although it is reasonable and justifiable to have such feelings, but that shock, loneliness, and everything just haunts me. I also felt so unfair for such a lovely dog to pass away at his peak. I can still recall the happy memories when we were together, as well as every detail of that fateful day. As a pet owner for over 3 decades, all of my previous dogs have passed away at their normal life expectancy range, which is 13 to 17 years old. I still find it hard to accept the fact of his short-lived life. I felt so helpless after doing everything we could to rescue him, but yet no one can pull him back from the hand of death. And although I understand we have done nothing wrong, I did not have the courage to adopt another pet because just my lifestyle and timetables were once so filled with his presence. The sudden loss of a beloved family member just downgraded my home to be a mere shell with walls and doors and abruptly transformed me into a man without soul.
I see. You're quite familiar and mindful to your sufferings. It helps us to observe and learn to pay careful attention to our mind.
Whoa, Michael, you're overwhelmed by your thoughts and emotions. No wonder you lose the courage to adopt another pet. Just now, I listened to you analyzing and labeling your own suffering, and you realize your main suffering is second arrows caused by mental proliferation. Could you tell me, what is your mental proliferation?
Well, mainly it's a lot of memories and a lot of what ifs. What if Mission is still with me? What if I took him to the vet earlier to have a thorough body check instead of a standoff? What if I became more attentive to the situation? Because now there are always early symptoms that I wish I could have discovered. And that particular moment where he was being rescued on the table, and he was inserted with tube and looking out through the glass door, I still remember how our eyes connected for the last time, and that look and feelings of helplessness, anxiety, and despair still haunts me very deeply.
You can observe your mental proliferation very well. Now let's analyze together how your sufferings arise. You know, in Buddhism, a person is actually merely 5 aggregates. The third one, possession, includes thoughts and values give rise to suffering. For example, in your case, Mission died so sudden, it is a shock. A lovely young dog passed away at its peak. It is so unfair. Losing Mission like a son is so lonely. A Mission died with helplessness, anxiety and despair. It's helpless that you can do nothing. And you have so many what if. and you repeat the last moment and wishing there would still hold to save him. And finally, you lose courage to adopt another animal as your volition arose due to the possessions. Are my descriptions correct?
Yes.
We can see here, if we want to eliminate sufferings, we need to update our possessions. Could you observe there's any attachment under your possession?
Well, first, it would be the normal life expectancy of dogs. Dogs normally have a lifespan of 13 to 17 years. And second, my decades of experience of owning a dog. All my previous dogs passed away at 13 to 17. That means I'm a very able and responsible dog owner. So I would, normally and naturally, expect mission will age as they do and pass away gradually, instead of all of a sudden.
Right. Your expected mission will live a normal lifespan based on your knowledge and your experience, and this sudden death is totally out of your expectation. This is the attachment under your possession that causes your suffering. You know, in Buddhism, all phenomena are impermanent, including life. Depends on lots of causes and conditions. It is normally out of our expectations and control.
Well, yes. Well, I'm not a science freak, but science was what I could grasp at that very moment. I thought, with the best vets, clinicians, and medical equipment, they could pull mission away from the hand of death. That's what my hope was based on. However, now that I realize life expectancy is merely statistical, and every life has a different and conditional lifespan, no matter how long all my other pets have lived. Not all dogs can live to the fullest extent of their statistical years.
Very good, Michael. You understand the impermanence of life very well. How do you understand your suffering now?
Yes. Impermanence is not the source of suffering, it is just the way everything arises and falls. It's the contrary experience between expectations and reality that causes us to suffer.
Yes, that's true. It is that out of expectations causes our suffering. How do you think we can eliminate such suffering?
Well, we have to accept no one can escape from people and conditions that we detest. Although we would not preferentially expect such unpleasant conditions, we have to accept them when they appear in life. For example, as much as I wish my dog to live longer and healthier than he was, we have to accept such desire will become something that we cling on to. If we only wish for the pleasant and reject the unpleasant moments.
What an insightful understanding. Yes, it is fine for us to feel sad and helpless while accepting the tragic death of mission. We can have beautiful wishes, but without clinging onto them. We know life is impermanent, and any expectation becomes very fragile and easily leads to suffering. What we can do may be just treasure and accept every present moment, no matter pleasant or unpleasant. Now I would like to invite you to the present moment and practice a spiritual oasis together. Now, how do you feel when you think of mission?
I can accept his death. It is inevitable, and it has happened. But I still feel helpless.
Okay, let's just accept the feeling as it is. Now I would like to invite you to go back again to that particular moment when you witnessed Mission's death. Now, how do you feel in your body?
I feel nothing. There has not been any bodily feeling in my body, even at that particular moment back in the clinic.
I see. And how do you feel in your heart?
I understand Mission's death is only the cessation of conditions. I can accept the impermanence of life, but my heart still feels helpless.
It is okay, Michael. Just hold that feeling there. Be aware of it. Observe whether there is any change. How do you feel now?
A bit better, but I still have no courage to adopt another path.
This simple mindfulness practice can help us stay peacefully with our feelings, understand it, and embrace it without rejection. With mindfulness, we can be aware that the cessation will rise and cease as they are. You could practice in your daily life to help you better understand the impermanence of our suffering and bring an end to it. Yes, just now you mentioned your lack of courage to adopt another path. For you, what does death mean to Mission?
The end of suffering for him and permanent separation with us.
You mean you two would be apart forever, right?
Yes.
But you know, in Buddhism, everything depends on cause and conditions. This life we can meet probably because in past life we already had a close relationship. And since this life we have a very good relationship, of course we will meet again next life. Do you believe that?
Yes, I do. And that's probably the reason why this session exists too.
Right. Therefore, I believe that Mission is on the way to you. But when Mission comes, he will be with another face, and you probably don't know whether he has already arrived you or not. So it's better let go of that fatal moment and welcome the new moment with him.
I remember a French poet once said, "For what we leave behind us is a part of ourselves. We must die to one life before we can enter another." And maybe that's what Mission was doing. Pass away in this life so that we can meet again. Like you said.
Yes, maybe he's just smiling and looking at you, just like your cat. He needs your full attention as you love Mission.
Well, if that's the case, I hope he will rebirth as a human instead of an animal, so that he can learn Buddhism and eventually get out of this samsara.
Yes, let's send our blessing to Mission.
Thank you.